The story begins with a bitter conflict. My wife, Olivia, a staunch materialist, declared our unborn child a bad omen. She insisted on an abortion. Then, on National Day, no less, she was caught in a hotel room with her ex-boyfriend, Ethan, trying to conceive. When I confronted her, my fury barely registered. Ethan consulted the spirits, she said, utterly unfazed. Only a child of his and mine can bring us good fortune. This is all for your own good, David. I laughed, a cold, empty sound, and slid a divorce agreement across the table. Then I wish you and your super macho ex all the best. May you have many, many children. Olivia, who had always sworn by materialism, had a sudden change of heart after becoming pregnant. She wanted to consult a fortune teller about the child's destiny. I immediately tried to dissuade her. Fortune-telling is all a scam. Olivia's face darkened. Aren't you the one always burning incense and praying to Buddha? Isn't that superstition? I was speechless. I let her go, figuring she was just seeking a blessing for the baby, maybe a protective amulet. Nothing wrong with that, I thought. It could even be considered good karma for the child. But then I accidentally discovered that the fortune teller she was seeing was none other than her ex-boyfriend, Ethan. Ethan, dressed in flowing Taoist robes and holding a ceremonial whisk, addressed me gravely. The child Olivia carries is a curse. He will severely damage Olivia's future prospects. Their destinies clash. It's a life or death situation. Ethan's pronouncements infuriated me. This is my child, not some curse. He won't affect anyone's future. Stop spreading fear and endangering a life. I grabbed Olivia's hand and pulled her away. The anger simmered inside me for a long time. Olivia, you never believed in this supernatural nonsense before. What's gotten into you? Olivia's expression hardened. She pulled her hand away and took a step back. Ethan isn't a stranger. He wouldn't hurt me. I was stunned into silence. Olivia used to scoff at any form of religious worship. She often mocked my Buddhist practices. David, she'd say, praying to gods and Buddhas won't change your poverty-stricken destiny. Wealthy people are born into it. Just accept your fate. But now, she blindly believed her ex-boyfriend's words. I cautiously probed further. Honey, you're not actually considering aborting our child, are you? When I saw the unwavering determination in Olivia's eyes, panic clenched my heart. Honey, this is our child. You can't do this. We've been waiting 5 years for this baby. Olivia sneered. We waited 5 years. We can wait another 5. What's the big deal? David, I endured so much hardship with you when you had nothing. Now you have everything. And you can't even indulge me in this one thing? What use are you to me then? Don't be jealous of everything. It makes you look pathetic. My heart sank to the bottom of the ocean. Just then, my phone rang. It was my mother. My father had suffered a sudden heart attack and was in the hospital. I rushed to the hospital, dragging Olivia along. At the hospital, I saw my mother, her back stooped with age, carefully tending to my pale, weakened father. My heart grew heavier as I looked at my elderly parents, their hair streaked with gray. Over the past few years, to provide Olivia with a better life, I'd worked myself to the bone, building my business. I'd barely had any time to spend with my parents. They, in turn, never complained, not wanting to distract me. Olivia disliked my parents, and they, in turn, avoided her as much as possible. They even tried to please her by bringing her what they considered the best gifts. Now, I realized how terribly I'd failed as a son. Olivia scanned the room, not saying a word to my parents. She wrinkled her nose, picked up her bag, and tiptoed to the doorway. David, you chat with your parents. I'm leaving. Ethan said I need to go make an offering. My mother quickly got up, her face apologetic. Olivia, I'm so sorry. We're taking up your and David's time. Don't worry. I don't need anyone to look after me here. Go and do what you need to do. Don't worry about us. As my mother approached Olivia, Olivia's face contorted, and she took a few steps back, gagging. Mom, I'm sorry, your smell is too strong. I'm very sensitive to smells right now. My mother froze, unsure of what to do. She fiddled with the corner of her shirt and stepped back. But then, a thought seemed to strike her, and a flicker of hope appeared on her face. David, is she pregnant? No. Yes. Olivia and I spoke simultaneously. Olivia glared at me. My mother, however, was overjoyed. The previous awkwardness vanished from her face, and she turned to my father. Did you hear that? We're going to be grandparents. You have to get better. We need to be there to take care of our grandchild. Seeing their joy, I swallowed the words I was about to say. I don't plan on having this child, Olivia stated bluntly. The master said this child is a bad omen, that it shouldn't be kept, or it will curse the family. I think the master is right. How else would the old man suddenly have a heart attack? This is all karma. My mother froze. No one knew better than I how much they longed for a grandchild. Just because Olivia had once said, I don't like being pressured to have children, my parents had never mentioned it. But now that she was pregnant, she dared to say, in front of my father, that the grandchild they'd so desperately awaited was a curse. My father, lying on the bed, began to cough violently. His face turned purple. Nonsense. Nonsense. Suddenly, the machines connected to my father began to beep urgently. His heart rate spiked, and he teetered on the brink of death. Seeing my father's critical condition, I lashed out at Olivia for the first time. Olivia, get out. You believe that charlatan ex-boyfriend of yours so much, don't you? Get out now. Do whatever you want. Just get out. Olivia's eyes reddened from my outburst. She stomped her foot and ran out. I had no time for her. I immediately called for the doctor. My father had had heart problems for years and couldn't tolerate any stress. Olivia's words had triggered this attack. The doctors rushed my father into intensive care. My mother's eyes were red and swollen from crying. Her already stooped back seemed to bend even further. I sat on a bench, dazed. Thinking back on recent events, I felt like my entire marriage, my prioritizing of Olivia, had been a joke. My phone's special notification tone rang. I reflexively opened it. It was a post from Olivia on social media. It was a picture of her and Ethan, dressed in his Taoist robes. They were both smiling brightly at the camera. The caption read, "My offering was successful. You are always the master of my destiny." I felt no anger. I calmly liked the post and commented, "Olivia, I give up." Thankfully, my father's surgery was successful, and he was moved back to a regular room. The weight on my chest finally lifted. I stayed at the hospital for 2 weeks, running back and forth between the hospital and my company. Finally, when my father was fully recovered, I brought my parents to live with me. My mother was worried about disturbing Olivia, but I wasn't going to consider Olivia's feelings anymore. These were my parents. It was my duty to care for them. I expected a confrontation when I returned home, but when I opened the door, the house was dark. I turned on the lights, and it was empty. The layer of dust on the floor indicated that Olivia hadn't been home for a long time. Her clothes were gone from the closet. I was about to call Olivia. Opening her chat history, I saw a picture she'd sent 2 weeks earlier. It was a photo of her post-abortion medical report. Olivia had actually gone through with the abortion. My heart was numb. I knew some things couldn't be forced, but I wouldn't force anything anymore. I hired a lawyer to draft a divorce agreement and sent it to Olivia. Olivia called me immediately. Her shrill voice pierced through the phone. "David, why are you still being so unreasonable? So what if I aborted a child? That child was an inauspicious thing. Can't I consider my own well-being? What are you so upset about?" I was about to speak, but a man's voice came from the other end. "Olivia, the water's ready. Go take a shower. I'll order some takeout for you." Olivia nervously covered the microphone. I heard her whisper, "Don't. I'm on the phone." Then, her tone shifted back to me. "Even though that child is gone, Ethan has calculated the optimal time for me to conceive. We'll have another one then." I couldn't help but laugh coldly. "Olivia, I'm not in the habit of being cuckolded. This divorce is happening." I hung up the phone, reassured my parents, and packed up all of Olivia's belongings. Tomorrow was National Day. I planned to take my parents to see the flag-raising ceremony. My father was a veteran. His greatest wish was to see that shining 5-pointed star again. I had never fulfilled that wish for him. Now, I didn't want them to wait any longer. But before that, I needed to clear out everything related to Olivia from the house. After packing everything, I hired a moving company to deliver all her belongings to Ethan's Taoist temple. I changed all the locks on the house. I left the divorce proceedings entirely to my lawyer. With all of this done, I took my parents and left the house at dawn. On the way, Olivia sent me a message, demanding to know why I'd thrown out her things. I didn't bother to explain. I just blocked her. For the 7 days of National Day, I took my parents to see all the sights they'd never seen before. Seeing their expressions of wonder and amazement filled me with an extraordinary sense of happiness. I felt like this was the reason I worked so hard. When we returned, I saw Olivia waiting outside my house, looking pitiful. Ethan stood beside her, fuming. Before this, I'd had Ethan investigated. Ethan had a genetic condition known as XYY syndrome, sometimes called supermale syndrome. His family, to conceal this fact, had sent him to a Taoist temple after he graduated from university, hoping it would calm him. Despite his efforts to control himself, if provoked, the consequences could be unpredictable. To avoid him suddenly losing control, I opened the door and let my parents go inside to rest. Then I stepped outside to face them. I gave you two a chance to have your fun. How was it? Olivia slapped me, tears streaming down her face. David, after 5 years of marriage, you treat me like this. It's all your fault that Olivia has been crying all the time. Today, I'm going to teach you a lesson on her behalf. Ethan's eyes were bloodshot. Like a bull that had broken free, he charged at me, his fist connecting squarely with my nose. Blood poured from my nostrils. I heard a distinct crack. I gritted my teeth, wiped away the blood, and retaliated. But I'd underestimated the strength of a man with XYY syndrome. I was practically defenseless. I ended up collapsed on the ground, barely conscious. During the struggle, something fell out of Olivia's pocket. I focused my eyes and saw that it was a pregnancy test. 2 clearly visible lines. But Olivia and I hadn't been together for a month. For that entire month, she'd been with Ethan almost every day. This meant Olivia was pregnant with Ethan's child. I forced myself to lick the blood from my mouth, a sense of twisted satisfaction washing over me. Congratulations, I wish you joy with your new baby. Olivia clung to Ethan's arm, wiping the blood from his face with a worried expression. She didn't even glance at me. Anyway, I have my lucky baby now. My good days are ahead of me. Ethan said that once this child is born, my luck will turn. It felt like I was hearing the biggest joke in the world. Olivia, that's what you said. I've already hired a lawyer to file for divorce. You just focus on raising your lucky baby with your master of destiny. I staggered to my feet, went back inside, and slammed the door shut. It was time for all of this to end. 2 weeks later, I received the divorce decree from my lawyer. Because of Olivia's infidelity, I was awarded the majority of our assets. The same day I received the decree, I learned from a friend that Olivia and Ethan had gotten married. I curled my lip, silently wishing Olivia a lifetime with her super macho ex-boyfriend. I hired a professional nutritionist and a private doctor to monitor and improve my parents' health. A month later, my father's health had improved significantly. My broken nose and the internal injuries I'd sustained had also mostly healed. I decided to sell the house and move to a new place. On moving day, I saw Olivia, heavily pregnant and covered in bruises. She knelt before me, crying, and grabbed my pant leg, begging, "David, for the sake of our marriage, could you please give me the house? Please, or I'll be dead." I looked down at her coldly and took a step back. "Miss Olivia, I'm not your husband." Olivia's eyes fell. She bit her lip tightly, crying even harder. She crouched on the ground, muttering helplessly, "I regret it, David. I shouldn't have aborted our child. I shouldn't have divorced you. It's all my fault. Since I left you, every day has been a living hell. Ethan has severe anger issues. He's a monster, a complete and utter monster. He spent all my money. If I don't bring money home today, he'll beat me to death. David." My parents arrived to help with the move. Seeing Olivia kneeling and begging, they rushed to help her up. For once, Olivia didn't pull away in disgust. Instead, she grabbed my mother's arm, her voice filled with emotion. Mom, please, just tell David to give me the house. My baby is due in a few months. There's nothing left at home. For the sake of me calling you Mom, please help me." My mother was soft-hearted. She couldn't bear to see anyone beg so desperately. But she also knew about the pain Olivia had caused me. My nose, after being broken by Ethan, had left me with serious long-term problems. This was something my mother wouldn't easily forgive Olivia for. "Olivia, this was all your own choice. We have no right to interfere." Olivia's face froze. Realizing what she'd said, she immediately turned and knelt before my father. "Dad, you told me before that as long as I was willing, you'd give me anything. Do you still stand by that?" My father was furious. "You cheated on my son, killed my grandchild. I want to skin you alive. How dare you show your face here?" With that, my father began to gasp for air. I immediately called for someone to help my father inside to rest. I called for some strong men to remove Olivia. Olivia wiped away her tears with her sleeve. Suddenly, she rushed inside like a madwoman, lunging at my father. "If none of you are willing to help me, then let's all die together." My father had a pacemaker installed. He couldn't withstand any kind of external impact. Olivia knew that if she pushed him, he could very well die. She was doing it on purpose. In a panic, I rushed forward and pushed Olivia away. Olivia screamed. She fell to the ground. Blood began to flow from between her legs. My baby, my baby. David, you killed my baby. Olivia screamed. She should have been devastated, but she showed no sign of sadness. Instead, she looked excited. David, you killed the child in my womb. You won't get away with this. She called the police. Olivia insisted that I had intentionally harmed her. But she'd forgotten that I'd installed security cameras in the house a long time ago. Back then, Olivia had often told me she was afraid to be home alone. For her safety, I'd installed cameras at the front door and in the living room. Now, those cameras would become the evidence that cleared my name. Everything that had just happened had been recorded. Lying in the hospital, looking weak, Olivia thought she had the upper hand. She told the police, "Officer, my ex-husband was jealous that I was pregnant with another man's child. He deliberately pushed me. You have to do something." After watching the video, the police presented the evidence to her. The evidence clearly shows that Mr. David acted in self-defense. This is not a case of intentional harm. Faced with irrefutable proof, Olivia couldn't argue. In the end, out of a sense of humanitarianism, I paid for some of Olivia's medical expenses. Olivia, defeated, clutched the compensation money, lying miserably in her hospital bed. Seeing her pathetic state, I felt nothing. Absolutely nothing. Everyone must pay the price for their actions. As I turned to leave, Olivia suddenly called out to me. "David, you must be feeling pretty smug right now, aren't you?" "No. Do you hate me?" Olivia's face suddenly twisted with sorrow, as if it weren't she who had just wished for my father to die with her. "You're not worth hating." My attitude said it all. Olivia seemed to deflate, turning her head to the side, sobbing quietly. I had barely stepped out of the hospital room when I heard Ethan's furious voice. "You bitch! Where's my child? What did you do with my child?" Olivia's voice, trembling, pleaded. I'm sorry, Ethan. I didn't mean to. I just slipped and fell, and the baby was gone. I really didn't mean to." "Slipped and fell? I think you never wanted my child in the first place. You're still thinking about your ex-husband, aren't you?" Then, I heard the dull thud of fists hitting flesh, followed by Olivia's terrified, piercing screams. The hospital room erupted in chaos. Many people rushed to see what was happening. Only when the crowd grew did the sounds inside gradually subside, leaving only Olivia's wretched sobs. I didn't linger. I left the hospital immediately. Back home, I saw the private doctor giving my father a checkup. "Your father was frightened today. His blood pressure is a bit high. With careful care, he'll be fine. But we must absolutely avoid this kind of situation in the future. If it happens again, the outcome is hard to predict." I nodded, tucking the blanket around my father, my heart filled with self-reproach. I suddenly remembered Ethan's violent outburst against Olivia today, and a chill ran down my spine. Olivia's miscarriage wouldn't be easily resolved. I was worried that Ethan would seek revenge. I told my parents not to go out for the time being. I had someone investigate Ethan more thoroughly. When I divorced Olivia, although she received less of our assets than I did, it was still enough to guarantee her and Ethan a comfortable life. But in just a month, Ethan had squandered all her money. It was highly likely that he was either cheating on her or gambling. My assistant told me that Ethan had lost nearly $30 million in an underground casino. He was now deeply in debt to loan sharks. That's why he was pressuring Olivia to get money from me. I chuckled softly. I had a plan. Then, my assistant hesitantly continued. "Mr. Zhou, I found out that Miss Olivia was also tricked into believing in that fortune-telling nonsense. Ethan was kicked out of the temple in his third year there. He lost control of his temper and accidentally killed someone. He served a few years in prison and was released on bail. With nowhere to go, he returned to the temple. No one dared to provoke him, so they let him stay there. He accidentally saw Miss Olivia getting out of a luxury car and decided to latch onto her. He orchestrated a scene, using a trick to make Miss Olivia believe in the clashing destinies nonsense. This gave him a reason to get close to her." I nodded. But none of this was an excuse for her infidelity. I'd sensed it for a long time. Olivia's heart wasn't with me. Our relationship was superficial, lacking any deep affection. On her ring finger, she always had a ring tattoo that she never removed. It had the initials XQ. Now I understood. XQ was Ethan. Ethan was Olivia's childhood sweetheart, her lifelong white moonlight. I was merely the convenient marriage option when she had no other choice. When Ethan reappeared, her heart was already gone. Even if Ethan hadn't orchestrated that scene, Olivia would have trusted him unconditionally. It was a pity that Olivia's deep affection was for a man who never even told her about his XYY syndrome. So, this was the fate of a betrayer. I called the temple. I confirmed the truth about Ethan's identity. It was just as my assistant had said. Ethan was just an ordinary person living there. He often pretended to be a master to deceive wealthy women. I planted someone near the temple. I discovered the person Ethan interacted with the most. That person happened to be the daughter of a business partner of my company, Luna Sue. Luna was known in the industry for being ruthless and resourceful. Despite her family's wealth, no one dared to propose to the Sue family. I couldn't believe Ethan had the audacity to get involved with her. If Luna found out that Ethan was a fraud, the next time we saw Ethan, it might be his corpse. I anonymously sent Luna the information that Ethan was a fake master, destroying families and acting as a homewrecker. Within 3 days, my assistant informed me that Ethan had been kidnapped by Luna and left in the mountains for 3 days and nights. It was October, cold at night, and hungry wild animals often roamed, searching for food. When Ethan returned, he was barely alive. He'd nearly died. But Luna didn't let Ethan die immediately. She sent him to the hospital, pulling him back from the brink of death. Ethan, with his XYY syndrome, was consumed by a desire for revenge against Luna for torturing him. The first thing he did after being discharged was to seek revenge on Luna. But Luna's family was heavily guarded. Before he could even enter, he was beaten half to death by the bodyguards. Luna said she was keeping him alive so he could pay back the money he owed her. It wasn't out of kindness. If he didn't pay, she'd chop off 1 finger a day. Ethan didn't believe her. Until the first day passed, and Ethan didn't pay as promised. His pinky finger was brutally chopped off. The pain was so excruciating that he almost fainted. Only then did he submit. My assistant said that Ethan, under the guise of fortune-telling, had swindled Luna out of $50 million. Luna had almost married Ethan. It was only because she saw that anonymous message that she investigated the truth. Now, she probably knew that the woman Ethan had previously deceived was Olivia. Sure enough, just as my assistant finished speaking, I received a call from Luna. I wasn't afraid of Luna causing me trouble. Although she was ruthless, she valued loyalty and distinguished between good and evil. My business cooperation with her family was inseparable. We wouldn't fall out over this. Luna's voice was languid and casual, devoid of any emotion. "David, I heard you were cuckolded by a fake Taoist. Want revenge? I'll take care of it for you." I joked. Of course I want revenge. But I'm a man. How can I let you do these things? Everyone says you're a tigress. Do you really want to live up to that reputation? Who cares what they say? I do what I want. Then tell me, what do you want to do? Luna thought for a moment and said, "You said he's a super male, right? It's better not to let such a scourge harm other girls. Just get rid of him." I suddenly felt a chill, but I still reminded her. It's not worth going to prison for a scumbag. Luna chuckled. When have I ever been that stupid? She told me to contact the owner of the casino. Let him taste some sweetness. Keep him gambling. I immediately understood Luna's plan. Push Ethan and Olivia to the brink. Even if Olivia was afraid of Ethan, she would fight back in desperation. Ethan, to pay off Luna's debt, immediately accepted a new loan from the casino owner. He won $50 million in a row. But he was greedy. He bet all the money, plus the new loan. Overnight, he lost everything. I watched the video sent by the person I'd arranged. I saw Ethan sitting DFLY on the ground, being forcibly held down on a stool. All the fingers on his other hand were chopped off. The entire scene was filled with Ethan's screams, like a pig being slaughtered. I couldn't bear to watch such a bloody scene. I was about to turn off my phone when an unknown number called. It was Olivia, whom I hadn't contacted in a long time. Olivia's voice was weak and hoarse, no longer the clear voice I remembered. "David, I want to see you one last time. For the sake of our marriage, please." Her voice was lost in the wind. I didn't hear what she said clearly, and I didn't want to ask about anything related to her. "I'm sorry, Miss Olivia. I'm busy. We shouldn't contact each other again." With that, I hung up. I wouldn't feel any sympathy for someone who had almost destroyed my family. Even if she chose to end her life, it was her own choice. But I'd been with Olivia for almost 10 years. Olivia would never actually choose to end her own life. Any suicide attempt was just a tactic to make me submit to her. Now, I wouldn't be manipulated or deceived by her. Sure enough, when I got off work, I saw Ethan and Olivia waiting downstairs at my company. Ethan's left hand was wrapped in thick bandages. Blood seeped through the bandages, but he seemed oblivious to it. His face was expressionless, even fierce, as he looked at me. David, I haven't settled the score with you for causing my wife's miscarriage. If you don't compensate me today, you'd better think carefully about your short-lived father. Ethan's blatant threat. He was now being pressured by debt collectors from both sides. He couldn't even control his own life. So his XYY syndrome was now fully exposed, without any pretense. He pulled out a short knife from his waist and tapped it rhythmically on the reception desk. The clinking sound made Olivia, standing behind him, turn pale. She reflexively tried to move away. Olivia, where can you run to? Tell everyone here. Was it him who pushed you down? Was it him who killed our child? Olivia glanced at me. Her expression was complex. She hesitated to speak. Ethan angrily stabbed the knife into the tabletop. Olivia screamed, her voice filled with sobs. It was him. It was him. It was David who killed my child. I want justice for my child. Only then did Ethan pull out the knife, satisfied. Then he took out a photo from his pocket. The photo showed me pushing Olivia down, causing her miscarriage. David, you decide. The surrounding employees began to whisper. Their gazes towards me became subtle. I really wanted to laugh. Laugh at Ethan's stupidity. Did he think he could ruin my reputation with the power of public opinion? But this matter had already been settled long ago. I effortlessly exposed the fabricated accusation in front of Ethan. I then shared with everyone on their phones the story of Ethan's domestic violence, Olivia's attempt to extort money from me to please Ethan, and her attempt to kill my father. Suddenly, Ethan went mad. He grabbed Olivia by the throat. The sharp knife pressed against her neck, almost piercing her delicate skin. Ethan kept backing away. His eyes were venomous as he looked at me. David, she's your ex-wife. You used to love her so much, didn't you? Now her life is in my hands. Just give me 50 million. No, 100 million. Just give me 100 million, and I'll let this woman go. I'll divorce her and give her back to you. You can be together again. Olivia didn't dare move. She could only stare at me with pleading eyes, trembling violently with fear. My heart tightened. Although I didn't want to care about Olivia's life or death, I didn't want this to happen at my company. I was trying to figure out how to negotiate with Ethan when Luna walked in, unhurried. She took off her sunglasses, which had been covering half her face. Her eyes glanced at Ethan. Ethan immediately lost his previous arrogance. Luna stuffed her bag into her assistant's hands and patted my shoulder. Mr. Zhou, what did I tell you? In some things, you're definitely not as good as me. Watch and learn. Then, she calmly looked at Olivia. Miss Olivia, you don't have to act so pitiful. Because there's no one here who can save you. Strangers have no reason to, and David certainly has no reason to. You're divorced. You cheated on him. No normal person would take back a cheater and agree to that psychopath behind you's demands, right? 100 million? What makes you think you're worth 100 million? Even I wouldn't dare to ask for that much. You two really have no shame, thinking you're so important. Olivia looked at me, seemingly confirming whether what Luna said was true. I gave Luna a thumbs up. This woman was truly lethal. Seeing this, Olivia's eyes gradually dimmed. Her head slowly lowered. She seemed to no longer be afraid. She mumbled, That's right. It was all my choice. It was all my fault. So this is all my karma. Ethan, why did you lie to me? Why did you lie to me? Ethan was suddenly startled by Olivia's transformation. The knife in his hand involuntarily plunged into Olivia's neck. The blade sliced across her neck. In an instant, blood flowed from her neck, dripping onto her clothes. Olivia, you're crazy. Ethan snapped back to his senses and slapped Olivia across the face. Olivia's right cheek instantly swelled up, and her nose started bleeding profusely. Olivia wiped her bleeding nose haphazardly. Her face contorted with rage as she looked at Ethan. It's all your fault. Ethan, you're a curse. You hid the fact that you're a super male, and you made me abort my own child. You're the one who killed my child. You don't deserve to live. You don't deserve to have children. Before Ethan could react, Olivia snatched the knife from his hand and plunged it into his lower body. A piercing scream echoed through the entire building. The employees were so frightened that they scattered far away. Before I could even call the police, someone had already done it for me. Some braver individuals had already started live-streaming the scene. 1 stab, 2 stabs, 3 stabs. She didn't stop until Ethan's lower body was riddled with holes, like a honeycomb. Olivia collapsed, looking at the dying Ethan beneath her. She cried and laughed, her clothes torn from Ethan's resistance. I clearly saw countless scars, large and small, all over her body. They were all gaping wounds, shocking to behold. There were even fresh wounds that hadn't healed, oozing blood. Even the usually ruthless Luna, who had seen her share of dramatic scenes, gasped. Mr. Zhou, is your ex-wife crazy? Question mark. Luna. Otherwise, why would she choose a violent maniac and not leave him? I gave her a look. Weren't you the same? Luna. What the? Olivia turned around, holding the knife. She suddenly walked up to me. I quickly pulled Luna behind me, standing guard, and said to her, Olivia, you can't make any more mistakes. Olivia sneered, looking at my hand holding Luna's, and said calmly, Isn't this what you wanted? Everything is as you wished. The sound of police sirens grew closer. Olivia laughed twice and plunged the knife into her own stomach. I staggered back in shock, caught by Luna. Olivia gritted her teeth, her face contorted with pain. David, I owe our child a life. Now, I'm giving that life back to him. I'm sorry, our child. When Olivia was taken to the hospital, she was barely alive. The doctors discovered she was 1 month pregnant, but she had stabbed her uterus, causing it to rupture. Her life was in danger. Luna used her connections to bring in specialists for a consultation. They saved Olivia's life, but her uterus was removed. She could never have children again. Ethan, stabbed in a vital area by Olivia, died on the spot. The day Olivia was discharged from the hospital, she was immediately taken away by the police. She faced the death penalty for intentional homicide. When the judge announced her sentence, she took off the lucky charm she had obtained from Ethan. She tore open the yellow paper. It was the most vicious curse written by Ethan. Those who betray me will die a horrible death. Looking at this piece of paper, Olivia could no longer control her emotions. She ran headfirst into a support beam. Everything returned to peace. The video of Olivia's killing spree went viral for a while before being taken down by the authorities. Within a day, it was no longer trending. The harmful casino was also raided by the police, following the leads from Ethan's case. My father's health was also improving day by day. Whenever he had time, he would have my personal assistant take him to Beijing to see the flag-raising ceremony. My father said that only by seeing that rising 5-pointed star could he live for another 50 years. Luna appeared out of nowhere. She had changed her usual arrogant demeanor. She was wearing a pink dress, looking surprisingly petite and cute. Miss Sue, what are you doing here? Luna pouted, feigning a coquettish attitude. I'm here to accompany Uncle and Anne on their trip, of course. It's National Day, and I happen to need a travel buddy. I could hardly recognize Luna like this. Have you been possessed by a ghost? I'll go to the temple and get you an exorcist. Luna gave me a look. Get lost. I breathed a sigh of relief. This was more like it. Luna suddenly leaned in, meeting my gaze. Mr. Zhou, why don't you come with us? I'm afraid you'll be lonely working overtime during National Day. Looking at this somewhat playful Luna, my mind started to become muddled. By the time I came to my senses, Luna and I were already on a plane, embarking on a new journey. A new chapter of life was about to begin.